David, welcome to Washington, D.C. by phone.
Thank you so much, Rusty, man. It's a pleasure to be in, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was reflecting in our communications about how Charlie Fishman brought you by the WDCU studios when you had a gig at the One Step Down around the same time you were with the United Nations Orchestra that Dizzy Gillespie had. Trying to remember what year that was, in fact.
Yeah, that's right, man. That was a long time ago.
Boy.
It had to be 91, I think,
sure,
1991.
Sure, absolutely. So, tell us a little about how you got into the music growing up in Puerto Rico and the States, and how you've, put together your milieu in terms of what you're going to do with the music.
Well, I mean, I first of all, I mean, when I was in Puerto Rico, I was really into the tradition of jazz. I mean, it really, I felt it very close. Although I was most of my experiences then were, coming out of the Caribbean experience, and with, and I was blessed enough to say that I would play with people like Roberto Roena, which is one of the true masters, and later on Eddie Palmieri, so I was also, because of the my family, they had like a very broad and open minded way of listening to music, I guess. My siblings, my sister, my brother, and I was exposed to different styles of music from an early age. So for whatever reason, I really felt jazz, and I was listening to music, Miles Davis, like there's a recording called Basic Miles, that it was really a compilation of Miles Davis, different periods of his career, and obviously Dizzy, Gillespie as well, but honestly, I never thought I would be, like years later, I will be like actually playing with some of the artists that I was listening to, and but one thing for sure is, like, I knew what I wanted to do, and most importantly, I knew how I felt about music as a whole. Coming from different places, not necessarily. I mean, not. Let me rephrase that. Not different places, but like I did not see genres as completely separate or compartmentalized. I saw them as one, coming from one place, and having almost the same lineage. So that was clear to me.
Okay.
Funk, jazz, gospel, bomba, rumba, reggae, Brazilian, different forms of Brazilian music. They did not sound like different things to me.
Sure. Okay. All connected. Right. Speaking of connections, how did you connect with the Dizzy Gillespie's United Nations Orchestra?
That was through Dizzy Gillespie. I mean, that was through Eddie Palmieri.
Oh, okay.
Because I have to say it because, and I say it like this because if it wouldn't have been for Eddie, there's no way I would have gotten into Dizzy, because we were touring while I was touring with Eddie. I had the chance, we were coinciding in some of the same jazz festivals, and in touring around, meeting at airports and stuff like that. So some of them, you have an interaction and the musicians, and when that opportunity came, that let's say like they were needing a saxophone player at a given point, obviously there was a connection already, and they said, oh man, what about this young cat that is playing with Eddie, and like people like for instance Claudio Roditi, or some of the other guys, like Paquito, or they knew about me already, but it was via Eddie. Otherwise, they would have known. They would not have known about me.
Okay.
So,
wow.
So that's the way. Really, when I analyze the thing, really that was the way. That was no coincidence, like they say. I mean, I was there. I was playing with Eddie. They were there too, and then they talk, and they're like, "Oh man, maybe we should play this young cat." And next thing I knew, it was like I got the call.
Fantastic. And then from there, that really pushed you out there, in terms of doing recordings and touring. You also, make that connection between Puerto Rico and Cuba through the Afro-Cuban connection, playing with Gonzalo Rubalcaba and others. How did you make those connections?
Well, with Gonzalo, that was much later. In my and later on, in the career, and I guess it's just playing around. I have to say, the answer is basically because I've been blessed enough that in a fairly I would say like an early age, I managed to play and share music with different people that felt music in different ways. They have different perspectives. Like, for instance, just to give you an example, I was with, I moved from Puerto Rico. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, some way, almost immediately, I started playing with Eddie just because Eddie went to Puerto Rico, and Charlie Sepúlveda, a great trumpet player from Puerto Rico, knew about me, and I was playing with the Apollo sound, Roberto Roena, and Roberto was always been known by being like, at the cutting edge, he wants to do the, like kind of like, like a vanguardist kind of approach to the music, like a modern kind of version, and he wanted always younger people in his band, and mix up, with younger people and older people. So I was one of those, and that's how Charlie and I knew each other. So Charlie, anyway, Eddie went to play this thing in Puerto Rico while I was still in Puerto Rico, and Charlie, they wanted to put a band that was a mix between like New York cats and Puerto Rico, people living in Puerto Rico, and Charlie was the one who actually recommended it. So I played that particular performance with Eddie Palmieri, and somehow, some way, I end up playing with Eddie. After that, because they said, oh man, by the way, he's moving, from Puerto Rico to New Jersey, he's studying in there. So right away, I started playing with Eddie, right? But at the same time, while I was at Rutgers, I was playing gigs with at Amuri Baraka's place. African American poetry,
absolutely,
freestyle, jazz, free, and Newark.
Right.
So I ended up playing at the Muri Baracus place, and then surely enough, like later on, I started playing with Ray Drummond, jazz, no Latin, no. It was. Again, for me, it's the same. It spoke to me and touched me in exactly the same way. So I was both with, Afro-Caribbean, Latin American experience / African American, from the hardcore of the, African American experience, playing gigs with, exchanging and sharing music with them as well. And that just brought a whole different, angle. And I was young.
Right.
So I was able to absorb all that information when I was that young. And I never, when I reflect and I go back to it, and it still amazes me because it's nothing that I would have thought it was going to happen, but it did happen.
As reflecting on that, I'm thinking about that because you were still in your teens when I met you, when Charlie Fishman brought you by to talk about on the radio about your gig at the One Step Down. So
right.
And you were already established with Dizzy with that connection with Charlie Fishman.
That's exactly right. I clearly remember that place, One Step Down. I mean, it was amazing.
Absolutely, no. It's a real gem.
To play there, and later on, of course, experience the DC area jazz scene. Which I always loved. I really did. Being in DC for the first time and in years to come after that. It always felt special to me.
Absolutely. I guess the last time we saw each other was at the Kennedy Center when you performed there a few years ago. What did you do during the shutdown, during the COVID pandemic? How were you able to survive? What did you do during that period of time?
Well, I have to say I was really blessed. Because, although I obviously experienced the hardship of, similar stories, like with other fellow musicians.
Sure, losing friends.
That cancellations, left and right, and uncertainty, really. There's no other word, not other way of calling it, really, uncertainty. But somehow, some way, I was blessed enough to have, educational outreach, and I started sharing, and somehow, that actually made, I was able to make it via just sharing and doing, workshops, and I'm an artist in residence at Georgia State University, for instance. Okay. I'm in Atlanta, So everything was virtual, and we carry on, and we did everything online, virtual. But that was a source in there, and also at the San Francisco Jazz Conservatory, at the RJM program. At the Conservatory of San Francisco, and it's a concept, basically collaboration between the SF Jazz Collective from the SF Jazz Institution with the Conservatory. So that continued to virtually, and somehow, some way, between one thing and the other, you just kind of managed to make it, and that's pretty much. How I survived, if you will.
Right, absolutely.
So you know what I mean. Yes. So and things on the side, and other than that, it was crazy busy because I had And an interesting story, like, as you know, as everybody else, I didn't know what was going to happen. It caught me completely off guard. Now, as far as I knew, I was going to go on tour, and I had these plans and whatever, and it just didn't happen. So I end up, I went to visit my mom, which is, she's going to be 95.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
So, wow. I agree with my brother. I was going to, although I'm in Atlanta, they are in Orlando. My brother was going on vacation. It was something set, and I was going to take care of my mom, before the tour would start. And long story short, I end up there for like 3 months. Oh. Then I stayed there with my mom, taking care of her, and it was an amazing experience, actually. Although we experienced perhaps some things that were not necessarily considered as positive, or was hard. It was
sure.
a big,
sure.
But at the same time, there was an opportunity that it came up for me to be with my mother and share, my brother, was in Europe, so it was a nightmare. I don't know if you remember that, all there was an announcement that created confusion back then, that, everything was closed in the United States for everybody. Nobody could come. So that created chaos all around the world.
Right.
And my brother was part of that. He was there. And on top of that, he was in one of the places that was considered a red zone back then. So I told him, don't worry about it. I'm here. Everything is canceled anyway, so I'm staying. You don't have to, don't, just for the safety of my mom.
Sure. So you're with Mom.
Right, exactly.
Gosh.
So that, it was an humbling experience, because adversity and everything that comes with it. But at the same time, yet I have that opportunity, beautiful opportunity, and special opportunity to share those moments. And so, obviously we have some service that will come and help my mom. We have to cancel them out. I don't need to tell you, because of the circumstances. So I end up doing all that stuff. So I was totally busy.
I'm sure you were busy.
I know this beautiful story. People sat down, how I got inspired and wrote this thing and created this and that, and that was not the case with me. But I tell you what, it brought a lot of strength and a lot of inspiration, just by being busy doing all I had to do, given the circumstances.
Very special. That was really, really important that happened, that you were able to do that. So tell us about this weekend's gig with Warren Wolf at Keystone Corner up in Baltimore that Todd Barkin's been doing marvels with. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the experience, man. And obviously Warren and I members of the SF Jazz Collective.
Sure.
So I know Warren very well. We for years already sharing together. So it's my brother, and when he invited me to do this thing, I was like, I didn't hesitate. I said, like, I'm in. Especially the type of project he wanted to do, and tribute in the spirit of the music and energy of Tito Puente and Carl Jader. And something music that I feel close to, because I experienced as well with Tito Puente. We did the RMN Tropic Jazz All Stars.
Sure. Okay.
Back in the 90s.
Yes.
So and we have all the videos and the 2 CDs that came out of that performance, and it was when he told me about it, I was like, wow, okay, great.
Great,
This
absolutely.
is perfect, because, I miss Tito, I really do.
Sure. What a boy. What incredible. Yes.
Innovator. He was a visionary. He was ahead of his time. And wow, he was a true master. He was a true master. He knew it. He got it. He understood. He grasped what is music and art as a whole, and he knew was to give to people. We artists, and we have our perspective, but he had the perfect blend between that and what is given to, ultimately we are providing a service to people, for people to feel the music and for them to feel good, to make them feel good. And I experienced that directly from him. So when Warren called me for this, it's like, wow, man, I definitely see myself in here. I share with these people as well. So, somehow, some way, it's important and to keep it going.
Absolutely.
To
Absolutely.
keep it going and to share your experiences. And otherwise, what's the point?
No,
the point is to share. The point is to really share, and for all of us, and what Todd is trying to do in the club in there is extremely important. And I immediately I said, I'm in, because we need this. We need music. We need live music.
Absolutely.
We just like we need live theater.
Absolutely. No, we got it.
Those are special things.
Absolutely.
That we often take for granted, and they so special.
Yeah, Keystone Corner, 1350 Lancaster Street in Baltimore. The number to call is 410-946-6726, or better yet, go to the website at KeystoneCornerBaltimore.com, and you can click in for tickets. They've been doing live streaming through the COVID and keeping it going, and now it's all live music, and it's been keeping pristine. It's a beautiful club. And
yes,
I got some of your music and some of Warren Wolf queued up. I want to get back into the music, and I really want to thank you for calling in tonight, David. It's been a pleasure talking with you and then thinking about all the years that we've known each other. And,
that's right. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, so,
thank you so much. Hey, that's right.